Hello there and welcome to Doctor Who Radio Show. I'm That's The Way It Goes 09 and this is
Monk of Magnesia, aka Jimmy.
Excellent. And in this episode, this low-fat calorie episode of Doctor Who Radio Show, we'll be looking at basically what Moffat has said several times about the fact that Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, the outgoing Doctor, will finally be giving us answers to all the unanswered questions going back to the 11th Hour, the very beginning of the 11th Doctor era, which is soon to become, part of the nostalgia of Doctor Who for fans. Happens to every single Doctor. He quotes in Doctor Who TV, "It's been a long game, but most of the questions that people ask will be answered." So in essence, anything that was never answered, and there are many questions to be answered since the 11th Hour, and even beforehand, will finally be resolved, linked up, loose ends tied up, strung up, whipped into shape, and turn into a good old-fashioned end of an era ending in a ending type way. But the most interesting quote of all is in relation to regeneration. One of the horrors of regeneration is that a certain amount of his persona alters entirely. His appetites and his enthusiasms, he said, barely getting the word right, will change. And that's sort of what I'm writing about now in Matt's last episode. The fact that he's terribly aware that he's about to be rewritten, and it's frightening. And I think you can extend and embellish that, can't you, based on a quote from...
Yep, Nightmare in Silver. He says to this the cyber leader that, of course, I can regenerate. These implants will just disappear, but then I'll be rewritten and it'll be a new guy, and I can wait a little longer for that to happen.
Ah. The odd thing is, though, this isn't the first time, is it, really, in the new series we've had that suggestion that it's more than just simply his appearance or voice changing.
Right, the 10th Doctor talking to Wilf about what will happen when he regenerates. He said it'd be a brand new guy walking off.
Ah, yeah.
Also, this Doctor, and ever since the Colin Baker Doctor, the Doctor has been aware that somewhere between the 11th and 12th regeneration is the Valeyard.
Ah.
He's scared he might eventually become the Valeyard, and he wants to prevent that from happening too.
But the insinuation from the 10th Doctor's rather heartbreaking confession, really, to Wilf, and what myself and Monk have just mentioned from Moffat and the 11th Doctor himself, is that just like the actual series itself, they're going to get replaced. The actor and the character getting replaced. Rewritten is what happens with each. The Doctor is a character that changes all the time, but it's the same person. But in the writers, in the history of the show, they do rewrite the character.
Well, in the 3 Doctors, when the first Doctor sees the second and third, doesn't he say, you're my replacements?
So you could argue that some of those sort of lines from returning Doctors might be partially or actually the opinion of the once upon a time he was playing the Doctor.
Yeah. And even like some Doctors remember things that the other Doctors don't. Like the 3rd Doctor suddenly remembered that he is trained in Venusian martial arts. None of the other Doctors after him or before him seem to have known that.
The 3 Doctors, of course, has that wonderful put down by the 1st Doctor, where he says, "So you're my replacements, a dandy and a clown." Which could have been what William Hartnell thought. William Hartnell did actually see Patrick Troughton's Doctor, and he thought it was rather good.
Oh.
Apparently, I seem to remember reading that he was watching it, and he was rather nice about Patrick Troughton's portrayal. He had the opinion that if anyone should replace him, it should be Patrick Troughton, acting skill, etc. And then there's the third Doctor in the 5 Doctors, where he does actually seem to know what his successor is going to be. Teeth and curls. So it's rather interesting. But the curious thing is, they've only really mentioned a personal terror, if you like, really, for the Doctor of changing. Does this suggest, Monk, that bizarrely, even though he survives death, from his point of view, it is a form of death for each persona when it happens?
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is a form of death for them, because it's like having a split personality or a multiple personality, and then being told that, well, we have a cure for you, but all your personalities except one will be gone, and that these other personalities would feel like it's a death. I won't exist anymore. I say one is an expert classical pianist, but the one that's going to survive isn't, and won't know anything about playing piano. But the one that was an expert classical pianist and loved music, loved playing piano, is not going to exist anymore. Won't have any memories of even playing piano.
Everything he's got used to in his previous incarnation will be basically chucked out.
What was it? The fifth Doctor? No, the fifth Doctor said a Time Lord. We are some of our memories, a Time Lord even more so.
A man is a sum of his memories, a Time Lord even more so.
Even more so.
So, in essence, it reflects the real life rewriting in the TV series production level, costumes, etc. And also reflects, would you say, possibly, Monk, the, chuck it away when it gets boring attitude of the audience, maybe?
Yeah. I think so. Because the audience is, it's like, the audience was bored of me, so I had to kill myself, so...
It's rather curious, though, that the one Doctor who hasn't gone this way, bizarrely, is the John Hurt Doctor. He's still there.
Well...
Stored away.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he's not a dead Doctor. He's just somehow existing in the time stream.
It's very interesting. As for the rest of the article, what do you make of the idea that we're going to have some long-awaited or perhaps not expected answers, such as no ducks in the pond from the 11th Hour? Remember that?
Yep. I understand the reason for doing it, so that when season 8 starts, it can start off all new, fresh. The next 50 years will be all new because all questions have been answered, nothing lingering. But I'm wondering, if he does answer all the questions, what else are they going to talk about in the 50s? What else? It's going to take a long time to answer all the questions. Can he do that in one episode and still have time to have an adventure in the episode?
That's true. Very true. There's, like I said, no ducks in the pond. There's Prisoner Zero. Where did Zero come from? There's
who blew up the TARDIS. Yeah.
There's also, how did Melody get to become that little white girl who regenerated in New York? What about those pictures in that old building of Amy and the baby?
Yep. What did the Doctor see when he saw his greatest nightmare? And he opened the door and he said, "Oh, of course," and he just closed it.
Yeah. So for some viewers, they would have probably forgot, some of the things that.
Yeah. So many questions have been raised that, even forgot about that. I'm glad he answered it though. And
I'd be answered well.
It's almost here. November 23rd is almost here. We're almost in September now.
He described it as a long game. So presumably he's had a rough plan of the whole era to a certain extent.
Well, there was one interview recently. He said that despite saying all his interviews, Matt Smith's going to be here for years, that he knew 3 years ago that Matt Smith was leaving. And then that first he thought maybe I could talk him out of it, but then when it became he knew it was an actuality. Everything has been prepared for. He'd written the scripts for it. He already knew it was going to be Peter Capaldi long before it was announced that it was Peter Capaldi. He's written the stories. It's all ready. He's known. He said he's known for 3 years, and he's had it all planned out.
Well, whether he actually gave a good result in terms of what he presented is debatable. Those arguments about, this or that, the melody pond into river song type thing.
I'm just hoping it is at the end of the 50th. It's the end. It's not continued in the Christmas episode. I want the Christmas episode just to be a standalone, like all the other Christmas episodes, and at the 50th conclude what he started in the name of the Doctor.
Well, I've always personally felt, and I've said this before in Doctor Who radio show, thank you for all of you joining in throughout the episodes, that name of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary, and the 12th hour, well, not 12th hour, 12th night, I'll get mixed up, name 50th and 12th are basically like the Star Wars trilogy. They're all connected somehow. You have a start, a middle, and an end.
Right.
Like the Fourth Doctor last few stories that were connected. Introduction of the Master, the Master's triumph, and then the introduction. Of course, very much similar to that. The introduction of the Fifth Doctor. Same thing, really.
There's a question in the name of the Doctor that's been bothering me. Was in order to open the TARDIS, they needed the Doctor's name. The TARDIS opens. The Doctor didn't say his name. River said his name. But how did the TARDIS hear? No one there was able to hear River because she was mentally connected to Clara. So how did the TARDIS hear her?
What happened to the silence?
Yep, what did happen to
I
the
read
silence?
something very interesting that I can't remember where precisely, but Madame Corvarian and the silence technically came from an alternative reality. So in our reality, just like our Cybermen, they could still be out there. How did that mysterious TARDIS get to be underground hundreds of years before? That's the depths of it,
Wasn't the silence supposed to be at Trenzalore when the Doctor was there? When the Doctor falls at Trenzalore, wasn't the silence supposed to be there? And if that is the future, if that's the giant TARDIS at Trenzalore is supposed to be the TARDIS of the last and final incarnation of the Doctor, why is the chip in the window still there?
How did the murderer and convict at the start of Name of the Doctor know the Doctor's real name? Unless that was the Doctor in that last final incarnation. Blimey hell. Questions which will be answered, of course, a question that has an answer hidden in plain sight. And that is what Moffat has all been about. Timey-wimey puzzle for the audience and perhaps even for himself and the production team, which eventually is answered. But it's a answer and a presentation like a game of Cluedo or a murder mystery night, which is back to front, inside out, thrown up into the air, falls into completely different shape, and then gets put back together eventually. Just like the River Song, and indeed the whole 11th era. What started with the episode Blink has become the manifesto of the Moffat era. Interesting. Fascinating, my dear Holmes. So his entire attitude really has been quite literally just like his writing of Sherlock. Just imagine if Stephen Moffat wrote Sudoku puzzles. Gordon Bennett. There'd be a lot of deceased elderly people, wouldn't there? Oh. Now, we're talking about Moffat giving loyal viewers, hopefully, that's his promise anyway, a big payoff, a reward for all the frustration and the elation over the years in his era of Doctor Who, the Who puzzle era, if you like. So, in the 50th anniversary, can we, viewers and Monk and everybody else who listens to this, even Trekkies or Lost fans, can we expect a resolution for the past Doctor, that's the 10th, the current Doctor, the 11th, and the past future past present Doctor, Hurt, and also the one who will be stepping out of the shadows come Christmas 2013? It's all about resolutions, really, isn't it? Our 50th and the first story of the 12th Doctor, wouldn't you? How would you put it, Monk?
Yeah, it is all about resolutions, resolving loose ends, tying up loose ends, answering questions, discovering. Also, it's going to be a reminder of who the Doctor has been for 50 years plus 900 plus years, but the 50 years of watching him or listening to him when he wasn't on the air. It's a reminder of who the Doctor really is. He's an alien, a time traveler, but he's something more than he's not just your average Time Lord. He's more than just a Time Lord, as Sylvester McCoy's Doctor said. I think he's able to. Moffat's able to do that. He did that at the end of season 5. He answered all the questions from the first episode when Amy first appeared. He did that at the end of season 5 and blew us away because when we found out all the clues were actually in Amy's bedroom in the very first episode. He did it at the end of the TV series. He had Jekyll. He only had 6 episodes with that. He did it at the very end of that. Yeah, I think he's capable of doing it. I think we're going to be surprised. I think we're actually going to be blown away about the 50th anniversary. I can't wait because I think we're all going to just be there with our jaws dropped in deep appreciation of what just happened and looking forward to the next 50 years.
I think I was, and I know you and Mark and others were really pleased when the Great Intelligence mentioned the Valeyard.
Yeah.
Because ironically, that's what the whole insinuation was, that the closer the Doctor was getting, well, when the Valeyard in the Trial of a Time Lord was mentioned and shown to be a future incarnation, that was a masterstroke, a really good idea. Change from the usual, past Doctor's return. But that was far into the Doctor's future. Now, the Valeyard is closer. But apparently, according to Name of the Doctor, the Valeyard is way in his future, even from the 11th Doctor's point of view.
That's the way it seems to be. The Valeyard is someone who he's not John Hurt, but he's someone that is yet to be, but is very close to becoming, which is why another concern Matt Smith's Doctor will have about regeneration. He doesn't want to become the Valeyard. Will he be the Valeyard during his regeneration? A reason he doesn't want to regenerate. One of the many reasons he doesn't want to regenerate.
That explains the 10th Doctor's behaviour in the waters of Mars. He was acting, I think, not for the first time in hindsight, but repeating what he did during the Time War. In the story Death Comes to Time, there's a character played by Stephen Fry called the Minister of Chance, who basically uses his Time Lord powers in a way that apparently Time Lords have, all of them have, but they refuse. They refuse to interfere. They watch, record, but never interfere, type thing. So the great thing is, of course, at the time of Water of Mars, it was the first time we'd ever seen that really properly, and he was punished basically for his behaviour by being regenerated. But now, thanks to the name of the Doctor, the whole perception of what we know about who came when, 8th Doctor hurt 9th Doctor, but also the fact that it wasn't the first time. He'd done something far worse. That's where the 10th Doctor betrayed the name of the Doctor, well, very briefly in a way, didn't he? And look what happened. Regeneration.
Yeah. And in the in Water of Mars also, there was no Time Lords to answer to. He could do whatever he wants, because I'm the only Time Lord left. I can do whatever I want. I have no one to answer to. This time, the laws of time obey me.
And that's precisely the point. In the last episode of Doctor Who Radio Show, we gave you an exclusive of a comic called The Girl Who Loved Doctor Who. Now, apart from the paintings finally being explained as, well, an Andy Warhol collage of all the Doctors, but a blanked out John Hurt Doctor, there was also a panel which Monk narrated really well, where the Time Lords on a devastated Time War Gallifrey were pointing out that the Doctor had the moment and was willing to use it, and saying that the Doctor had lost the right to be called the Doctor. But in the waters of Mars, like Monk pointed out, they no longer exist. So perhaps time or the universe, or even his own Time Lord abilities, are punishing him, the 10th Doctor, for doing it again. Naughty Doctor! We told you not to do it. Go up to your room. That's an interesting idea. So what do you think? Do you think they will show that scene, be it live? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Live, yeah.
not me saying going up to your room, but the two Time Lords discuss. He's got the moment. He's going to use it. They know and can predict that the Doctor isn't just simply going to use it against the Daleks and help them win, but
right.
And
of
course, that's why Rassilon, perhaps Rassilon, maybe the Time Lords from the end of the time. Somewhere in the background is a John Hurt Doctor about to use the moment.
Well, we also know that UNIT is somehow involved.
And the Time Lords know about past or future incarnations. They're time sensitive. They can see what will be or could be. So, in other words, Time Lords can hold one hell of a grudge.
Yeah.
Just imagine being a unfaithful partner to a Time Lord. You're going to have an affair. I haven't had an affair. Yes, you have. I want a divorce. I haven't even done anything. You will do, though, won't you, pervert? That's it. It's like Sherlock Holmes knowing everything.
They should have seen it the moment he became a Time Lord. They should have known, since they can see future as well as present and past. The moment he became a Time Lord, they should have known eventually he will destroy us.
Well, they do have things like the time visualizer and stuff, they might, some Time Lords, if they're long-living Time Lords, might have seen it way in the Time Lords past. You know, so it's possible. Anything's possible. But the moment. What is the moment? Is it? It's called the moment. Does that suggest that it can rewrite or change a fixed point in time, or create a moment in time as a fixed, like the Genesis device in Wrath of Khan? That's what it is. I bet it's like that.
That could be it. Just rewrites everything. Yeah.
So devastating that even if something is a fixed point in time, i.e. the time war between the Daleks and Time Lord continuing for eternity, perhaps it does the opposite. But if you know that you're safe in the eternal time fixed moment, something like the moment must terrify you. And, remember everybody what Rassilon said, "I will not die." That's what happened at the very start. You had a Time Lord being basically destroyed by Rassilon's, puppet club thing, because they were constantly doing it again and again, trying to rewrite their own history, so they won. Maybe the moment, quite literally, does it permanently.
Permanently rewrite or also alter established history if you can rewrite it, everything.
Ooh, so in a nutshell, we shall have answers in Matt Smith's final episode, whatever that's called, I don't know. Maybe it could be called The Girl Who Loved Me or something like that. The Spy Who Loved Me? No, The Girl Who Loved Doctor Who. We will have answers in the 11th Doctor's final story, but remember everybody, that answers sometimes breed more questions. We will have, hopefully, that wonderful scene in the comic between the Time Lords. We will find out what the moment is. We will see the downfall, or maybe the desperate attempt to end a devastating war. Remember, sometimes, good things aren't always necessarily the best for everyone. So what do you think, Monk? Give you the final word.
I just think it's an episode to look forward to. That it's going to blow us all away. It's going to answer our questions in a way that we're all going to be satisfied with. I'm sure there's going to be people debating it and stuff, but overall we're all going to be happy, and we're going to look forward to the next 50 years.
And that's the point. Thank you for watching, everyone, listening. I have been That's the Way It Goes, and this has been
Monk of Magnesia, aka
Until
Jimmy.
next time, keep hooing.
Bye bye.